Well, you guys have stuck it out this long. This is going to be part 3 and the final part of the PS4 game collection. So, we're just going to get right into it. And right off the bat, we're going to get into 2 games that I've barely played. And one is a game that has a big audience, but it's just not for me. Uh, Overwatch. Also, I fixed the auto zoom thing, so that shouldn't happen again. But yeah, Overwatch. It's not my thing. I don't particularly like games like this. The closest you'll get to me playing games like this is I like Destiny a bit, but even that, like, I don't like doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Says the guy who really likes Death Stranding. But yeah, just Overwatch wasn't for me. I played it with a few friends, maybe 3 or 4 times, and that was it's not for me. The other one that me and a few friends tried to play, and it just advertised it sounded fun, and just it wasn't that. Payday 2, Crime Wave Edition. I guess it has extra stuff that I never saw because I played the game for like 2 hours. So yeah, it's about heists, and this was pre GTA 5 having heists in their games. But yeah, you're supposed to be able to completely customize your scenarios and go into a certain situation and just rob banks, rob buildings, stuff like that. It just wasn't fun. Like, I was not having fun with it. Also, certain things seemed convoluted, and yeah, I was just like, I'm not having fun, and nobody else I was playing with was having fun. So we tried like 3 or 4 times once again, and just like, all right, well, I guess we're not playing this anymore. So yeah, Payday 2. If you want to try it, I'm pretty sure it's like $5 at GameStop. This is a game I need to play more of. I've put a few hours into it, but it is one of those Japanese-oriented games that is super long, and the whole series is notorious for being super long. Persona 5, and it's just the normal version. I'm pretty sure they have other editions now. I'm not much of an anime person. I feel I might have said this before, but I wanted something different. I was tired of everything else I was playing, and I was like, all right, what have I not tried playing before? And I was like, well, anime style games. I never play those outside of, like, unless you count like JRPGs, and some of them kind of lean in the anime side of things. But I'd never played a Persona game. Always heard about them, and I played it for 3-4 hours, and I was enjoying it. And I also like the fact that it's turn-based RPG combat. I like that. I loved that in the older Final Fantasy games. But yeah, I think I might have played it a bit longer if there weren't other games I was also heavily invested in at the time. Like, I think this was around the time I was pretty heavy into Horizon Zero Dawn, and I might have just been starting with Alien Isolation and Death Stranding. So it just kind of fell to the side. But yeah, I want to get to it. But yeah, it's listed as 100 or something hours. So it's going to be a long haul. This one I enjoyed, but it's another Overwatch situation. It's not the same type of game. But this is a style of game that's being kind of overdone at the moment. There's a bunch of different game titles you can get where it's the same exact game style. But this is Predator Hunting Grounds. So it's got it's 4 versus 1, 3 versus 1. I don't remember. But it's the Dead by Daylight Friday the 13th moniker of 4 people versus 1 monster. In this scenario, it's a Predator, obviously. And I think you can also do games where it's your squad against another squad in like Call of Duty Battlefield style stuff, but there's still a Predator. And so that's kind of a thing. But I played it with a friend, and every game, like, I was like, this was fun. But each game was really short, like 10 minutes, maybe 15, which that in itself would be fine if every time I didn't play a match, it felt almost exactly the same. Like, I mean, you're playing with different people, but I mean, how many different times can you do? The maps don't even seem that different, at least the ones I played. And I was like, it's fine, but I need some sort of variety. So yeah, Predator Hunting Grounds. Let's see. This one's installed and I've never played it. Rage 2. So I actually really liked Rage 1. It kind of had a weird way that it wrapped up the story super quick, but the way it was building was pretty cool. I liked the fact that you could use vehicles and kind of go out into the desert areas, and there was a little bit of vehicular combat. Apparently they've upped the ante with this one. I, once again, haven't played it yet, so I can't tell you whether that's true or not. But yeah, the first one was good, and I enjoyed it. And I liked the few times there was like a giant boss battle, and the combat was good. There was a little bit of humor to it, and I liked that. Not as far fetched as like Borderlands, but yeah, I enjoyed it. So I wanted to get this, and I got it super cheap. I just haven't played it yet. I will at some point. This one I played, and it was a welcome return to horror for a franchise that had been moving away from it for several years. Resident Evil Biohazard, or Resident Evil 7. It's the swamp one. So it's... Resident Evil 6 is terrible. Everyone knows that. That's just common knowledge at this point. It's not the worst thing I've ever played. It's just, for a Resident Evil game, it's blech. I'll defend 5 and 4 till forever, but 6 is bunk. 7 completely changed the way they were doing the games. For the better. There is a DLC part of it that I've never played. I've watched people play it, that is basically the over-the-top action stuff again, but it's done in like I don't want to say humorous because it's not really true, but it's deliberately, like, they know what they're doing. They're not trying to be serious about it. Where you play as Chris Redfield and you just go crazy with Big Gun Man. But yeah, the main game was the first time the Resident Evil series had been even remotely like survival horror-y since maybe Resident Evil 4, and even that's kind of pushing it. Because as much as I love Resident Evil 4, like, that was when it started becoming really action-oriented. Despite the fact there is still some horror elements, you never feel like you're in jeopardy of running out of ammo, or you're in a situation that you can't just defeat by just shoving a bunch of bullets into it. Maybe Code Veronica? But yeah, it's really good. And Resident Evil Village, which I don't own yet, seems to be even better. But I'll get that eventually. Oh, is this the... I'm going to feel stupid now. This is the second one. Rise of the Tomb Raider. So the second of the reboots of Tomb Raider. I have not beaten this one yet. I have sunk like 15 or so hours into it. And I played and beat the first of the reboots and absolutely loved it. Even the very end, where it goes nutso-butso, just like the end of an Uncharted game, where it's like serious tomb raiding, excavating for 80% of the game, and then it's like, oh, supernatural now. So there you go. So yeah, that's Tomb Raider, the first. I haven't gotten far enough into this one to know if it does the same thing. I'm going to kind of assume it does. The Tomb Raider games are, the reboots are brutal. They're very good, but oof, the death scenes and stuff, they don't hold back. It's rough, but the games are very good. So if you are a big fan of the Uncharted games and stuff like that, but you wish you had a bit more control and it wasn't as quick time eventy, like you're playing like a movie, try the Tomb Raider games. I'm sure they're all reasonably priced at this point. I haven't touched the third one yet either. I'll do it after I finish this one. But yeah, Rise of the Tomb Raider is good. Uh, so this is a series I like, but this game I've put very little time into. Is it Star Ocean? Is it something in faithfulness, integrity, and faithlessness? I'm sorry. So big fan of Star Ocean 2 on the PS1. Big fan of Star Ocean 3 on the PS2, and I believe that one's till the end of time. And then the fourth one was something Hope, Light of Hope, maybe. We'll get to it when I go to my PS2 collection at some point. But yeah, was a big fan of the Star Ocean series for many years, and I just picked this up because it was Star Ocean, and I started to play it. And at the time, I'd been playing, I think, Final Fantasy 15 and something else like that, and quickly realized that this was just a PS3 game that was remade on the PS4, and it looks super dated, and I was kind of like, do I really want to balance two JRPGs at this time? So I played it for like an hour, and I was like, this is fine, but kind of push it to the side as one does, and I haven't touched it since. This game took me by complete surprise. So as I've already stated, I am a fan of the Dark Souls style of games. I could not tell you before this when the last time it was that I played a Star Wars game. And obviously I'm talking about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I know I played Dark Forces for a little while, and that was on the PC, and that was late 90s, and that was kind of just a Doom clone. And before that, maybe the Nintendo. Even the Atari. This was a lot of fun. And I still need to beat it. I'm very close. Like, I'm in like the last area. I just haven't pulled the trigger and finished it. But it's got the Dark Souls style to it, but it's not as relentless. And you start off feeling, it's a good example of a game that basically starts you off feeling weak, but as the game progresses and as you learn more things, you actually feel yourself, like, the combat changing to your advantage. Like, you actually feel like you're becoming almost a Jedi. Like, because at the beginning, he barely do anything. He can barely fight with his lightsaber. But by the end, you can completely customize that lightsaber. You have all the force powers. You are unstoppable. And it's great. I love it. And I'm looking forward to eventually seeing how the story closes out, and I hope they make another one, because it's a lot of fun. I also like the open world aspect and going back to other worlds. And once you get new powers, you can go do things that you couldn't previously do, and so on and so forth. It's fun. It's a game I really enjoy playing, and I highly recommend. All right. Ooh. Well, one of the next three is one of my favorite games on the PS4. Not this one, though. I still need to play this because I've played the first three, and I've beaten the first three, and I like all three of them. Uncharted 4. I bought this around the same time that I finished 3, so I was kind of burnt out by that point. And I just haven't put it in. But anyways, the Uncharted series, very good. As I said, Tomb Raider is a bit better, but the Uncharted games are good. They're fun. And I look forward to eventually playing this one. It's a lot of shooting and also going down into caves and mines and treasure hunting and stuff like that. And then at the end of the first 3 games, and I assume the end of this one, all of a sudden it becomes this supernatural nightmare thing, and then you fight spirits because why not? But yeah, maybe one day I'll report back on the games that I haven't played. So this one is one of my favorite games on the PS4, and it's probably one of my favorite games of all time that doesn't have a sequel, at least a proper one. Until Dawn, and I'm not counting the one that's on. It's like a what do you call the games where the rail ride thing that's in VR? I'm not counting that. That doesn't count. Until Dawn is basically you are put in charge of a 90s teen horror movie for the first, let's say, third of the game. Actually, no, let's say quarter. So that's your goal. That's what's happening. And they switch you between all the different characters. And the graphics look amazing, like everyone's rendered, everyone's real people. And because it's such simple gameplay, because it is a lot of like quick time event stuff and like exploration. But the environments look amazing. Like you really like start, and you can. It's one of those. It's like the Life is Strange games where you constantly can talk to people, and the things you say sometime will affect how things go. Butterfly effect sort of stuff. But unlike Life is Strange, this doesn't give you a choice between two things at the very end of the game after you've done 700 different things throughout the game. Anyways, Until Dawn, yeah, you go through and you're playing all these different characters and they switch you back and forth, so you're seeing all these different scenarios, seeing what people are like, what their relationships are like. And yeah, the first quarter of the game, you're like, oh god, there's this serial killer and blah blah blah. And then for the next like quarter of the game, I'm gonna spoil the game lightly, but I won't give anything away. So play this. So yeah, so you think there's a serial killer, but at the same time, one of your characters has gone off to a different area away from the rest of the group because something happened to the person he was with. And it starts becoming clear that that's not actually what's happening. And so basically halfway through, shit hits the fan, and then instead of becoming one of those 90s teen horror rom-coms, it becomes like a legit horror movie, and it gets more and more messed up as it goes on. And your goal is to, as you would expect, every single person you're playing as can die. Every single person you're playing as, minus the two at the very beginning of the game, which you've seen in any trailer you've ever seen in this game, can live. So your goal is to make decisions to keep them alive. And there's a whole bunch of different ways it happens. And it's like, and as you go on, you can explore further. You start uncovering the story of what's actually happening, like way before you even got there, like what the backstory is of everything. And yeah, it is a lot of fun. Play it. It's good. So yeah. This one was good, not great, and then the ending pissed me off. Vampire, or Vampire, whatever you want to fucking call it. It is, speaking of the Life is Strange people, it's made by that company, Don't Nod. I think it's Don't Nod, right? La la la. Yes. It has that aspect where you go around and you talk to people and you learn about them. So I will break down Vampire for you. You are it's during the Spanish flu, I think. It's a big plague. I think it's the Spanish flu. So you're a doctor. There's a war. You get killed in the war. This is just a precursor for how the story starts. But you are bit by a vampire, so you come back to life amongst all these corpses, and you're like, well, I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden you have this insatiable need to feed on human blood. So that's the precursor for the game. That's how the game starts. And then you go through the game, and there's a pretty intricate story, and you're trying to figure out not only who made you, why they made you, what's going on. There's a lot of characters. And basically you go area to area, and you can go back and forth between all the areas, and you can talk to a variety of different people. You can get to know them and learn information, and then from that information you can go ask other people questions and stuff like that, and it'll help you learn more. However, so there is an aspect to this game that includes you can play the game one of two ways, or I guess maybe a balance of the two as well. If you're power hungry and you want to just be overpowered the entire game, the best way to do it is as I said, you talk to these people, you get to know them, you fill up your friendship meter with them, you become really close with them, and because you're a doctor, you have the ability to heal people. You go through and you build medications, and you give them to them, you heal their sickness. You fully fill up that friendship meter, you lure them to a dark alley, and then you kill them. And you take their aura, and the higher the friend level, the more experience points you get, which you can then use to buff yourself. So, if that's your goal, the best way to play the game is to go through the game, befriend everyone, extremely so, heal everyone, and then mercilessly kill everyone until you can just max your levels out. However, one of the problems is that the more you do this, each area has like a balance meter, because at the same time as there's a war going on, there's all these mutant-like vampires and werewolves and stuff. Skags, I think is what they're called. And they're no longer human. Whereas like you are eloquent, you can talk and all that sort of stuff. And I hit my pop filter. And but these people are, well, they're not people anymore. They're basically monsters. And so each town has a balance meter. And the balance meter not only goes down as people get sick, it goes down as people die. So there needs to, if you want to kill people, but you don't, there's a level meter where if it goes down past a certain level, the town gets overrun by the Skags, and then the humans who were there either get killed or they become part of a vampire hunting team who you have to start dealing with as you go area to area, because there is no fast travel. So the best way to do that is to, as you kill people, watch that meter, but at the same time find other people who are in the town who are sick or who have something wrong with them, and then heal them and kind of play the balancing game. But if the person who's like the centerpiece or the leader of the town, if they die, that it doesn't matter. The whole town goes to crap. I had that happen twice, where I didn't realize that a situation I was in was going to cause the person who was in charge of the town to die, and then all of a sudden I couldn't access all that stuff in the town anymore. So that was fun. It's good. Also, at the very end of the game, if you go, there's a light spoiler, but I'm not going to tell you what happens. There's a section, because it's a big open world. After there's a final boss fight, and then like basically right before that final boss fight is the last time you can go around to all the areas. So that's a pre-warning for anybody who wants to play this. So there's a big boss fight, and then after the big boss fight, you are teleported to another area, and in that other area is the final part of the game, which doesn't involve any fighting or anything. It's just story. But that's it. The game's over. You can't go back. So I had all this stuff I was going to do, and I was like, oh, I'll finish that later. Nope, you can't do it. So soft locked you. Well, actually, no, didn't soft lock you. Hard locks you out of like going back to open world time and finishing up the game. So yeah, super fun. I remember when Fallout 3 did that shit. Bethesda. They fixed it with one of the patches and one of the DLCs though. But yeah, so Vampires, all right. If you can get it for super cheap, like $15-20, get it. It's fun. I need to play this, and the sticker is going to block the actual thing, but Watch Dogs 2. So Watch Dogs 1 came out, and it was kind of lambasted because it wasn't a lot of the things that they promised. But everything I've heard about Watch Dogs 2 is the Evil Within 2 situation, where the first game got kind of shit on, but they fixed the problems with 2. So I've been told Watch Dogs 2 is really good. I just haven't gotten around to it. It's like GTA-ish with hacking, I think. So at some point, I will play this. This is a game we made it a bit into this. We never beat it, but it was an interesting idea. It's called A Way Out, and it's a 2-person game. Like, it has to be played 2 people. And each person has their own screen, and it's basically the beginning of the game is a Prison Break style game where you're working together to get out of jail, and then you're working together to stay out of jail. I haven't gotten far enough to know how the game properly ends, but maybe one day. What I played of it though, it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of, hey, I need to get into this room. Can you distract somebody while I do that or cause a commotion? But that person has complete control of their own camera to do it. So it's that sort of stuff, and it's cool. But yeah, you can't play it single player, so I need a friend. So I need to get the person I was playing with to go back and finish with me. This I played very briefly, but it was alright. Wipeout. It's a futuristic style racing game where trying to think of a game that's similar to it. Any of the non-typical. It's very arcadey. It's not simulation based, but everybody's super fast, like future hover vehicle things. But it's fine. It's the arcade racing game. I didn't really have anybody to really play with, so I played it for a few hours, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm good. I got my racing fix in. All right, we got 4 left and 1 I care about, so this will be quick. Witcher 3. This will be controversial. I don't like this game. I don't know what doesn't resonate with. The controls feel weird. I don't like them. I don't like the camera. I don't care for the character. And I put like 3 or 4 hours into it, and I wasn't into it. Which is weird because it feels like something I would like. Like, it's got the open world, I can go anywhere, side quest, crazy games, but I don't know. It didn't work for me. The same way Red Dead Redemption kind of falls flat for me. This one kind of fell flat for me. So, Witcher 3, I absolutely love this game. Wreckfest. I think I mentioned this prior when I was talking about Gran Turismo. Wreckfest is a Demolition Derby style racing game where you have basically there's a single player mode, but for the most part you want to play online against other people. And some of the lobbies get really big. You can have I don't know if they've changed it. It was 24 person at one point. I don't know if it's more now, but you can race with 23 other people. So there's a lot of dirt tracks. There's tarmac tracks. A good variety. There's combination ones, which are pains in the ass because you have to pick your car before the race starts. So there's those, but there's also, on top of racing games, there are straight up Demolition Derby style death matches. There's Last Man Standing ones where that's proper Demolition Derby, where the last car standing is the one who wins. Or the deathmatch one is basically you're trying to destroy other cars and you get kills if you destroy another car, and then you can respawn and blah blah blah. Time limit. And I believe there's another mode, and I'm just not thinking of what it is. If it comes to me, I'll say something. But it's a lot of fun. You can customize all your vehicles. You can download like toy packs and stuff like that to add things to your vehicles if you really want to be like unique when you're playing online against other people. And as you race both online and offline, which I think is a great feature, you collect in-game money, and you can buy new vehicles, buy enhancements, stuff like that. And there is no situation where cars you buy, like, basically any car I've seen that you can download, because there are download packs for cars, any car I've seen that you can download is not stronger than any car you can get in-game. So there's no pay-to-win situation, really. Like, I mean, if you're just starting to play the game and you play online, and then you're racing against somebody who, like, bought one of those packs and has, like, fully ramped up that car, yes, they have an advantage, but you can get that advantage without spending actual money, is what I'm saying. And there is a max level, I think it's 9.9 rating on anything. So basically, there's cars that could technically go above that, it just doesn't show it on the rating thing, and it just kind of like compresses it down. The hit detection's great, and it's a load of fun. So yeah, get Wreckfest. Also, the driving feels great. Like, it's not super arcadey. It's not like you're driving on ice. Just a forewarning, if you hear any noise, there's a hurricane supposed to be coming through. Not that we're going to get an actual hurricane, but we are getting the residual winds and rain from it. So if you hear patter, 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 it's rain hitting the window very hard. So, just letting you know. WWE 2K18, I'm not a big fan of the 2K games. Simulation-wise, they're cool, but I don't like how the reversal system drives me crazy, and I don't like it. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of 2K games. I haven't properly loved a wrestling game since like PS2 era with the SmackDown vs. Raw games. So, I'm hoping when AEW comes out with their game that it's a whole different system, and so I can stop playing the 2K games if I want to play a wrestling game in, current times. Last game in the pile is another one that's kind of in the anime style, but it's also like Anime Saw, Zero Time Dilemma. It's 8 or 9 people, and you control their fate, and it's like death puzzles and stuff like that. And I played it for a very brief period of time, but it just wasn't really truly connecting with me. Maybe I need to go back to it. But because there was something very interesting there, and there's a character who's wearing a plague mask, and he kind of is like Jigsaw. But yeah, so it's something I need to go back to, but I know very little about it. I know there's a bunch of games in the series, like there's a bunch of Zero whatevers. But yeah, so I got very little to say on that. Anime Saw. But anyways, that's the end of part 3 of the PS4 collection video, and we're done. So if I do another game collection video, unless I come onto a bunch of PS4 games, it'll be a different system. So until next time, see ya.